This week on Big Red's Cooking, we discuss rice. Hi, and welcome back to Big Red's Cooking. As always, I'm Big Red. So I'm here with another Technical Tuesday video. And this one I'm going to give a shout out to my cousin Taylor. He's asked me to do this one a couple of times. Every time I've run into him, last time I was talking with him, he asked me when I was going to get around to doing this. It's been a while. I told him I'd get it done, but I'm going to do it. This one is going to be all about rice. And actually, my Feed Yourself Friday video later this week will be all about rice. Now, normally I do a big long preamble, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to dive in head first, and then I'll explain why afterwards. So this is about rice, and what I'm getting ready to do is I'm going to get ready to cook some brown rice here. And this is going to be cooked in a way that probably most of you have never seen it before. So I've got a half cup of rice here, and I'm dumping it right on into a large pot of water. Now typically when we think of rice, you know, the standard is 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water. You know, most of us grew up probably eating Uncle Ben's or something of the sort. I know a lot of people who grew up with minute rice, which in my opinion is not even really rice. But rice, there's a lot more to rice than that. And rice is actually probably the most commonly eaten grain in the world. You know, I've been to Asia a number of times, and rice is literally served with every meal. You know, we had guests over here visiting with our college a couple of years ago. I was involved in a program where we were paired with a college in Vietnam. And our Vietnamese friends, and I love my Vietnamese friends, and I hope some of them are watching, they needed rice for every single meal. And they went out and bought bags of rice, and they'd cook it up and things like that. You know, I'm from Newfoundland. For us, most of us, we want to have bread with every meal. Most of my Vietnamese friends wanted to have rice with every single meal. They just didn't think it was a complete meal without it. And there's a lot of different types of rice out there. So you should be seeing a picture right now of 4 different kinds of grains of rice. And in the upper right hand corner, what you're actually going to see is a short grain rice. And this is a brown, sticky rice. And this is often used in a lot of Japanese foods. In our upper right, sorry, that was the upper left hand corner. In our upper right hand corner, now this is a medium grain rice. And this is our borio rice. This is used in Italian cooking to make risotto. In our lower left hand corner, we see a long grain rice, and this is a jasmine rice, which is a beautiful floral rice. And in our lower right hand corner, we're seeing a basmati rice, which is actually classed as an extra long grain rice. And if you look at the 4 of those rice kernels, or those 4 groups of rice, you'll notice that there's a different shape and length to each one of those. And they cook really differently as a result. Now I'm going to go back to my pot of, and actually, so I'll come back to that pot of brown rice. I'm going to get some basmati rice going as well. And basmati is my go-to rice. It cooks beautifully. It's nice and light and fluffy and has a wonderful flavor to it. But there's a couple of tricks to getting a really good basmati rice. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a measuring cup. No, let me say I got one right here. So I'm going to take a half cup of our basmati rice. And we're going to give this a quick wash. So the reason why we wash our basmati rice is that it's actually got a lot of excess starch on the outside. And if we don't wash away that excess starch, what it's actually going to do is going to cook up, and it's going to act like a glue, and it's going to make a really sort of gummy rice for us. So by washing that rice, we can eliminate a lot of that loose excess starch, and we're going to end up with a lighter, fluffier rice. Now again, I mentioned, you know, our standard, we all think 2 parts water, 1 part rice. Basmati is actually a little bit different. So the real math onto it is 7 parts water, 4 parts rice. And that's probably, you're going, oh my God, that's so complicated, but it's actually much easier than you think. So for 1 cup of basmati rice, you actually need 1 3/4 cups of water. So you want a little less than double the amount of water. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my water to my pot here now. And what I'm seeing now is as I'm swirling around my rice, my water is staying fairly clear. So I've been able to eliminate most of that starch. Now there's another little trick that I picked up. I have no idea why it works, but it does. What I always do, especially with my basmati, is that I add it into my cold water and then I just let it sit for 10 minutes. Don't turn it on, don't do nothing. And it just, I think what it's doing is allowing that rice to sort of absorb in a little bit. That water is hydrating some, and you just end up with a better rice. So I'm just gonna put this to the side and we'll come back to this in about 10 minutes. Now, TV magic, it won't be 10 minutes for you guys. So let's have a quick look at our brown rice in the meantime. So what I did with that brown rice, and again, brown rice is one that a lot of people have a lot of struggles in cooking with. So I'm doing what's referred to as the pasta method for cooking that. Now I'm gonna guess most of you have cooked pasta before. And with pasta, what we're doing is we're usually using anywhere from 6 to 8 times as much water as we have with pasta. We take these large pots of water, we fill them up, and there's gonna be excess water left at the end. And having all that excess water means that there's lots of water there to absorb that starch, and we don't end up with a big boom clump that's all stuck together. And that's actually a trick with our rice as well. And not only with our brown rice, with our arborio rice to make risotto. So if you've not had risotto before, it's an amazing dish, which is very time consuming to make and very laborious to make. But it's a very popular appetizer in a lot of restaurants. And people get it really quick. You'd never be able to get it that quick at home. You know, a good risotto can take 30, 35 minutes to make. And that's just not gonna work in a restaurant situation. So what we tend to do, again, is we do what we refer to as our pasta method. So we take huge volumes of water and we cook our rice in that and then strain it off at the end, just like we would with pasta. And then we end up with perfectly cooked rice. And then in case of a risotto, what we can do is then we can finish it with the different ingredients. And oftentimes it's things like a little bit of cream and butter. And a good risotto is gonna have almost a consistency like a porridge. And I'm gonna make that in a future video. So that's just a couple little tips. So our rice has sat here for about 10 minutes now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. And again, so with basmati rice, what we wanna do, bring it up to a simmer, let it simmer for 10 minutes. Then we're gonna turn it off, we'll let it sit for 10 minutes, and then we'll fluff it out. So we'll go ahead and throw this on their stove here now. And what I just did, because you gotta have it, a little bit of salt in there. You definitely want to make sure you're adding salt into your water. So we'll keep an eye on this and then we'll come back to it in a few moments. Okay, so my basmati is up to a full simmer. I just turned it down. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it on a low simmer for about 10 minutes. Then we're gonna completely remove it from the heat and let it sit for about another 10 minutes. So we'll come back again shortly. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes now, so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna completely turn this off. And I ain't gonna remove it from that one section, make sure there's no heat left. So at this point, we'll let it sit for about another 10 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and we'll fluff it up. So I'm gonna give a little shot to that brown rice that's been on for quite some time, and we'll see how that's doing. So it's starting to get tender. A lot of the water is boiled away, but the rice hasn't stuck together yet, which is kind of what I'm hoping, I don't want to happen. So we'll let that continue to simmer away, and I got a feeling that in about 10 minutes time, when that basmati rice is done, well, then that brown rice will be done at the same time. So we'll see you guys again in a few more minutes. Okay, so it's been about another 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and have a fluff up of our rice, and we'll check it out, and we're gonna put it into a dish here. So I'm just checking our brown rice, still a little bit chewy, so we're gonna let that simmer out for a little bit longer yet. We'll go ahead and we'll pull our basmati though. So you can see how nice and light and fluffy that is. Oh yeah. So tasty. It's one of my favorite rices. So you can see it's not really sticking together. It's nice, it's light, it's fluffy. This is a fantastic rice. You know, so this works. Any rice dish you want to have, to me this is my go-to rice right here. And of course I'll have everything typed up for you on the website if you haven't seen the website yet, bigredscooking.ca. So we'll wait just a few more minutes. We'll let our brown rice finish off, and then we'll get that drained away. All right, so it's been a little more than 45 minutes. Let's go ahead and check this rice now. I'm pretty sure we're done. Yeah, and that's done. So we can go out, and there's very little water left in this. So we can see our brown rice, which is normally really all sticky and clumped together, it's actually nice and light and fluffy here. It's got a nice texture to it. Great flavor, something a little bit different. So if you've struggled cooking brown rice before, you know, why don't you go ahead and give the pasta method a shot. So like I say, really, you know, keep in mind, traditional rice, 2 parts water, 1 part rice. With our basmati rice, we're going to cut down that water a little bit. We got to give it a really good rinse. Let it soak in that water for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and cook it. Let it simmer for 10 minutes and let it sit for 10 minutes. So it's 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And with that brown rice, we're going to do that the pasta method style. So I hope you found this video to be informative. I hope you learned something, and hopefully it'll help you cook your rice a little bit better in the future. You know, tune in this coming Friday for my Feed Yourself Friday video, and I'm actually going to be doing some rice dishes. I think I'll do a rice pilaf and probably a risotto. If you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and share it with your friends. Get it out there. If you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button at the end. Keep tuning back. Keep checking the website, Big Red's Cooking. Leave me some comments. Leave me some feedback. You know, this one was driven by a viewer. So if there's something you want me to do, let me know. And I've got some other ones coming up. I've got a list, but I have no problem adding more videos to the end. I really hope you've enjoyed this, and I really hope you're enjoying some great food. Bye for now.